Welcome to Global Facts. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. This is why you need to pay attention to what's happening in the auto industry right now. A seismic event is rattling the global auto industry, with General Motors at the epicenter and a bold new trade policy from the Trump administration shaking the status quo. The industry faces production halts, financial upheaval, and the livelihoods of tens of thousands of workers are at stake. This is more than a story about cars. It's about global economics, political strategy, and the human impact of decisions made in Washington. The auto industry's global supply chains are under threat, with ripple effects reaching Europe, Asia, Canada, and Mexico. The introduction of steep tariffs disrupts decades of open trade, forcing automakers into a high-stakes, uncertain environment. Companies must now navigate a landscape where every decision carries immense financial and political weight. The resilience of industrial giants and their workers is being put to the test. From Ontario's production lines to New York's financial districts, the effects are being felt and analyzed. We'll break down GM's announcements, Trump's tariffs, and the immediate responses from Ford and Stellantis. By examining the facts and hearing from those on the front lines, we'll uncover what this industrial earthquake means for the future. The current crisis in the auto industry is the direct result of the Trump administration's sweeping 25% tariff on all imported vehicles and auto parts, enacted in April 2025. This policy hit even America's closest trading partners, Canada and Mexico, upending the financial calculus for every automaker in the U.S. The goal incentivized domestic production and penalized foreign manufacturing, hoping to protect American jobs. The tariffs, split between finished vehicles and individual parts, have upended decades of finely tuned North American supply chains. Under previous agreements, parts crossed borders multiple times, keeping costs low and plants specialized. Now, every crossing adds significant cost, forcing automakers into a precarious position between policy goals and operational realities. The uncertainty makes strategic planning nearly impossible, as companies weigh the cost of reshoring against paying tariffs. Automakers are struggling to keep vehicles affordable while absorbing or passing on these new costs. The industry is now squarely in the eye of the storm. The first major consequence came from Canada, where GM halted production at its Cami assembly plant in Ingersoll, Ontario, idling 500 workers through most of the spring and summer. While officially blamed on high inventory and low demand for bright-drop electric vans, the shutdown was clearly influenced by the looming tariff threat and economic uncertainty. The move signaled that financial pressures were forcing automakers to take drastic action. The Cami plant, recently retooled for EVs, now stands as a symbol of the industry's struggle to balance innovation with economic headwinds. Unifor, the union representing Canadian workers, called the shutdown devastating, highlighting the human toll of these decisions. Meanwhile, GM ramped up production of its profitable pickup trucks in Indiana, doubling down on proven winners to build a financial cushion. Automakers are now forced to cut back on riskier ventures while shoring up their core products. This defensive strategy is all about survival in a rapidly changing landscape. The industry's balancing act has never been more precarious. On April 30, 2025, GM suspended its financial guidance for the year, a move reserved for times of extreme uncertainty. The company also paused its $4 billion share buyback, signaling a need to conserve cash as tariffs threatened to upend its financial models. GM's CFO admitted that previous forecasts were now unreliable, with a potential $1.1 billion tariff hit looming for 2025 alone. Despite a strong first-quarter earnings report, the uncertainty overshadowed any good news, leaving investors anxious. GM entered talks with the Trump administration, seeking relief or clarity, and even postponed an investor call to await more information. The industry's fate now hinges on political decisions in Washington, not boardroom strategy. Automakers are reacting, not leading, as they wait for policy changes that could make or break their year. The power dynamic has shifted. Wall Street is watching Washington for answers. GM isn't alone. Ford and Stellantis have also been forced into tough choices by the new tariffs. Stellantis halted production at two major plants, Windsor in Canada for 2 weeks and Toluca in Mexico for a month, affecting thousands of workers. The layoff sent shockwaves through the workforce and markets, with Stellantis shares plunging nearly 10% on the news. These shutdowns show how tariffs, meant to protect jobs, can trigger immediate layoffs across the integrated North American network. Ford took a different approach, launching a "From America" For America sales program with deep discounts to move inventory before prices rise. Stellantis absorbed the blow by pausing production, while Ford sacrificed short-term profits to keep customers coming. Both strategies carry risks, but neither offers a perfect solution. The Detroit Three are scrambling to find the least damaging path through a policy minefield. The industry is in crisis mode, improvising with every new development. Behind the headlines are the workers, thousands whose jobs and communities are threatened by tariffs and production halts. Union leaders, especially Unifor in Canada, have condemned the tariffs, arguing they punish workers in an industry built on cross-border cooperation. The shutdowns in Windsor and Ingersoll have devastated communities that rely on a single plant for economic survival. U.S. workers aren't immune. Layoffs at Stellantis plants have made everyone aware of their vulnerability in this interconnected system. What was once a strength, integrated supply chains, has become a source of shared risk. Many auto workers support policies to strengthen American manufacturing, but now face the harsh reality of job insecurity. Union leaders are fighting for immediate job security while navigating a complex political landscape. Their message trade policies must reflect the realities of modern manufacturing, or risk harming the very workers they aim to protect. The anxiety on factory floors is palpable, as everyone wonders which line will be next. The paradox is clear. Policies meant to help workers are putting their livelihoods at risk. The human cost of these decisions is mounting. The numbers reveal the scale of the crisis. U.S. automakers could face $108 billion in extra costs in 2025 due to tariffs. For GM, Ford and Stellantis, that's $42 billion, enough to erase profits and halt investment in innovation. The cost per vehicle could rise by nearly $5,000 for U.S.-built cars and over $8,600 for imports. Automakers must choose between absorbing these costs or passing them to consumers, risking plummeting sales. A late policy amendment offered minor cost offsets for U.S.-assembled vehicles. But analysts say it's not enough. The fundamental cost structure has changed, and the financial outlook remains bleak. Tariffs are a direct tax on manufacturing, threatening both automaker viability and vehicle affordability. The industry faces a vicious cycle of higher costs, lower sales, and more layoffs. Experts warn that the greatest danger isn't just the tariffs, but the uncertainty they create. Auto industry planning is long-term, but sudden policy shifts make billion-dollar decisions a gamble. The global supply chain can't be rebuilt overnight. Reshoring takes years, not months. Forcing rapid change disrupts efficiency, raises costs, and risks making American vehicles less competitive. The administration's stance is firm short-term pain for long-term gain, but many question if the damage will outweigh any benefits. The industry is left with no easy answers, navigating risk with every move. Strategic plans are now hostage to political whims, not market fundamentals. This environment deters the investment needed for American factories and workers. Stability and predictability are essential, but right now the auto sector has neither. The road ahead is uncertain, and the stakes couldn't be higher. We've traced the shockwaves from new tariffs to factory floors and corporate boardrooms, seeing how policy decisions have triggered layoffs, halted production, and shaken the industry. The financial fallout is massive, with costs soaring and the price of vehicles set to rise. Behind the numbers are real people, workers and union leaders fighting for their livelihoods. The Detroit Three are improvising, bracing for the next blow in an unpredictable environment. Staying informed is crucial, as today's decisions will shape the future of American manufacturing and the economy. The journey is far from over, and the direction the industry takes will impact us all. Keep watching, stay engaged, and understand the forces shaping this pivotal moment in history.